On tonight's episode, the Mandragora Masque, a pseudo-historical Renaissance romp. This story opens with a superb surrealistic sequence where the TARDIS is pulled into this dimensional anomaly. The effects, the music, and the ideas are obscure and interesting here. We then hard cut to 15th century San Martino, left wondering what has happened to the Doctor and Sarah.
Leave a few alive, Captain, to tell the others how insurrection is dealt with.
Check out this monster. She just bites into an orange like an apple, peel and all. Who the fuck does that?
Doctor, there's some fantastic oranges over here.
Helix force fields must have distorted the coordinates.
It looks like the Doctor has some of Pertwee's kung fu left in him in this sequence. Then the Doctor gets hit in the back of the head with a giant rock. If one punch can kill, surely this can kill. And my kids, when you go out clubbing, just be wary. Your whole life could change. You do a pill, you punch someone in the head, next minute you're in jail. Don't hit people in the back of the head with rocks. Don't punch them. Just do acid and wander around the wilderness. It's best for everybody. Some type of a Christmas light looking thing then exits the TARDIS. It snuck in there from the dimensional anomaly. And with Sarah now kidnapped by cloaked figures, there are two obstacles for the Doctor to overcome in this story. I refuse to comment on this clip.
What is it? Well, there's this man in Florence who claims that by arranging ground glasses in a certain order, it's possible to see the moon and the stars as large as your hand.
Is that a good thing?
This story spends a lot of time on the secondary characters, and a lot of plot is unraveled in your face with these San Martino noblemen. There's like a duke, an count that are struggling for power, and this alchemist. I find it hard to connect or care about these characters. It's all very well executed, the acting and the costumes and the dialogue. It's all good, but I just don't care. I just want to see more sci-fi and more Tom.
Upset now, my lord, but don't anger your uncle, not at this time.
If I don't speak the truth, Marco, who will?
You're alone now, Giuliano. Your uncle is strong and ruthless.
You're forgetting, Marco. I am Duke now.
Even though I find all this historical stuff a wee bit dull, the BBC always did a really good job of dressing up Doctor Who for these historical stories. With all the sci-fi serials, they had to build sets from scratch, they had to design and come up with costumes at breakneck speed with little budget. But all the historical romps, they had just warehouses full of clothes and sets from other stories that the BBC had done. So this story and a lot of the other historical stories actually look really nice. All the sets and all the costumes, they look, you know, they look reasonably convincing for like a show from the 70s. The Doctor is captured by the Duke, or the Count. I forget which one's which. He's captured by one of them, and he explains to them that this Christmas light looking object is the Mandragora Helix. It's escaped from the dimensional anomaly, and if he doesn't get it under wraps, it could destroy all of mankind, because you know that's what these things do. We get some tension building sequences of it murdering some people, and the special effects are actually really good, considering. The Count, not buying into the Doctor's story and growing tired of his cheek, decides to execute him, and this makes for an effective cliffhanger for the first episode. After waiting an entire week to see the thrilling conclusion to the Doctor's fate, he just casually trips the executioner over with his scarf and runs away. It's very anticlimactic.
Excuse me. I like to look my best on these occasions.
This brick wall looks plastic as fuck. Just saying. We then get a slow, grinding, tension-filled sequence of these mysterious monks about to sacrifice Sarah alive. Which is once again solved in an anticlimactic manner. The Doctor just simply walks up and pulls her off the altar with little to no obstacles. Oh fuck! The Christmas light's back! Sorry, I meant the Mandragora Helix. Looks like a Christmas light though. It's probably just a Christmas light. Yeah, they did what they could. I have no idea what's going on in this sequence. Nice use of lighting though.
Will be destroyed. You and you alone will carry out our will on earth.
Check out this round earth shill.
I have this theory, you see, that the world is really a sphere.
Oh, go on.
It's not only me. Other scientists are coming to the same conclusion, that the world can't possibly be flat because the...
What was that?
Nothing. You see, it's obvious when you come to think about it.
The middle two episodes of the story really delve a lot into this political conflict. And as I've said before, it just kind of trudges on for me in an unexciting manner. There is a little bit of tension, I guess, with the Mandragora Helix, but you don't feel that in the middle of the story. You're just kind of listening to boring dialogue shot at a flat angle in a room with these actors spilling Renaissance-esque dialogue. There's a little bit of tension because Sarah is once again captured by the cult members and is given a poison needle to spike the Doctor with. But for the most part, this narrative, for me personally, just drags.
The King of Naples, Duke of Milan, Duke of Padua, Doge of Venice, Signora of Florence. Very impressive.
There's also a problem in this story which happens in a fair few classic Doctor Who stories. They have the main premise and the main arc and all the events that should happen, but in the middle, everything just kind of goes around in a circle. In this story, it's like the Doctor gets captured by the Duke, then he escapes, and he gets captured by the Duke and he escapes. Same with Sarah and these like weird cloaked cult members. She gets captured by them, and then the Doctor rescues her, then she just gets captured by them again and hypnotized, and then the Doctor breaks that hypnotization or whatever you call it, and she gets recaptured. It's just like the whole narrative is going around in circles. So we've seen this, we've already seen this and seen it solved. Now you're doing it again? Tom does give a really cool kick though, so that's something.
Strike him down!
You don't want to hurt me, sir. I'm your friend, remember, your best friend. Drop it. The curse of dimness on you, sorcerer! Put it all for this.
Boring politics and bad wigs. Boring politics and bad wigs. All this story is boring politics and bad wigs. Finally, we get some excitement. The Duke goes down into the dungeon to confront this cult member, but the cult member's face is a glowing beach ball, and then he just kills the Duke with some Darth Sidious-like lightning magic.
You traitor!
These cult members have used the Mandragora Helix's power to seize control of this little kingdom. Their motivations are to push civilized society back into the Dark Ages and stop the Age of Enlightenment. Can the Doctor overcome these adversaries? Yeah, probably he does every week.
All or nothing. I'll have to risk it.
Doctor!
Hello, it's nice to see you. Listen. If it's ionized plasma, it's molecular, and by now must be spread pretty thinly among Hieronymus and the brethren. Exhausted. Exhausted. That's the answer.
Doctor, I have a question.
Could you get me one of these and a length of wire?
The Doctor sets up a fistful of dollars type situation with this breastplate that's negatively charged, and when old mate Beach Ball shoots lightning at him, it's gonna send the Mandragora Helix energy back to him. I thought that was really cool, mostly because it mirrors Sergio Leone's Fistful of Dollars, which is one of my favorite films. Yeah, probably one of my favorite films. It'll be in my top 20, definitely. If you haven't seen it, watch Sergio Leone's entire $3 trilogy, Old Man with No Name trilogy. It really put Clint Eastwood on the map, and stylistically, it's crazy. It's shot really weird. It started the spaghetti western craze, and the score is amazing. Ennio Morricone, yeah, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly is the third film in the series, and the music for that film is just stand out. This is about Doctor Who, isn't it? Go watch A Fistful of Dollars. It's great. Meanwhile, the Count has hosted a ball, but is soon attacked by these cult members. The lightning effects and the sheer brutality of it all make this a compelling attack sequence where a lot of civilians just die. Awesome. In the end, the Doctor wins somehow. I forget how, I drifted off a bit. But anyway, he saves the day. I think the breastplate works, maybe. He does something, he wins. The Mandragora Helix goes away, and the cult is diffused. And now the Count, who we're all rooting for, or the Duke, one of them, I forget which one, it's confusing. The guy that they set up for us to root for, not the evil one, he's now all good. His uncle's dead, his uncle died, he got the Darth Sidious lightning. It all wrapped up tightly in a nice little ball. That's my point. A conclusion happened. There was an end. There was a third act. There was a third act. Yeah, there was a third act. In conclusion, I think Doctor Who historical episodes are a balancing act between sci-fi elements and historically accurate elements. And for me, this story spent way too much time on the San Martino characters. Like I said, that just might be a preference that I have for sci-fi rather than, you know, Renaissance type political intrigue and backstabbing and drama. But I felt like even though those elements were achieved with some level of proper execution, they didn't do much for me. They didn't engage me or pull me in. I didn't care for the characters, and I thought the tone and the pacing was very flat and drab and dragged. But other than that, all the other elements are great. Tom and Elisabeth's chemistry is one of the standout elements. This being Elisabeth Sladen's second last story as a full-time companion. I really focused on that, and I was like, no, I don't want you to leave, Sarah, why are you leaving? She does come back for the 5 Doctors, and she comes back in New Who too, obviously. But for me, the chemistry between the Doctor and Sarah, the main companion here, is probably at its best. I mean, in my opinion, Tom is the best Doctor. His charisma and his acting, especially here in the early seasons, is at the pinnacle of Doctor Who. And Elisabeth Sladen of Sarah, she's so cute and adorable and great, and just that team for me is probably the top TARDIS team of all time. Who was better? Them. They were the best, in my opinion. And as I said, the sets, costumes, dialogue, special effects, music, you know, it's all good. This falls into the Philip Hinchcliffe era of Doctor Who, for me being the best era of Doctor Who of all time. So, all the other elements of the story were fine. It's just, you know, the historical stuff. Oh man, I want to go to fucking sleep! But, thank you for watching. Really help out if you like, subscribe, and in the comments tell me how I got all the facts wrong and how my opinion is null and void. Thank you, and good night.